Hi, this is Randy from Fried Eggs Golf, and welcome to Hard Boiled, the segment where I sit on an ugly couch and give you my first impression on new golf equipment in the market. Now, the equipment I would like to share with you today is actually two pieces of equipment, I have two pair of shoes that I would like to share with you today. They are the Ignite PWRADAPT and the Ignite PWRADAPT High Top. Now, before we get into too much of the style and how these shoes look, which I promise I will revisit later in the video, first off, let's talk about the bullet points of each one of these shoes. Roll the sexy B-roll. So we're going to start with the Ignite PWRADAPT shoe, and there are a lot of features and benefits to this shoe, and we're going to go over those now. Those features and benefits are also consistent with the high top version, so everything I'm about to say about this shoe, you can copy paste that over to the high top, and then when we get to the high top, I'll just add the additional features, the sock, into that description. Now, one of the first things I noticed about the PWRADAPT shoe was the construction of it. You have this performance mesh that kind of works its way around the upper of the shoe, and that's concealed by what Puma calls a power frame. The power frame are these little strips that kind of give you added support where they feel you need it, and then you have their performance mesh underneath that, which make the shoe very supple and very pliable. And then, of course, that upper shoe construction sits on this Ignite foam chassis, which is this very soft, very lightweight material that makes up the sole of the shoe. You can go on Puma's website and watch the video on it, but basically, it's lightweight and it's soft. Now, as you flip the shoe over, you can see underneath that Ignite foam that they have what they call grip zone traction, which are these little rubberized nubs here that sit between the removable spikes, which just gives you additional traction as your foot moves throughout the swing. The PWRADAPT shoe also features these tornado cleats, which are made by Soft Spikes Golf. I'm not going to pretend like there's special technology in these. They're cleats. Now, each spike is housed in what they call a PWRADAPT traction system, which if you take a look at the bottom of the shoe, you see the circle around each spike. And what that does is, as I put my thumb on it and rotate it around here, you can see that the spike moves independent of the sole of the shoe. Now, what that means to you is throughout your swing, as you start to transfer your weight, those spikes will move independent, so they'll stay in contact with the ground for the maximum amount of time that they possibly can, thus giving you more traction. And it also features an Epic Tour last, which is super confusing because it's really not technology at all. It has to do with how the shoe fits. It gives you a little bit more room in the forefoot there, and they kind of rounded out the heel pocket. And last but certainly not least, the Ignite PWRADAPT shoe features a 2-year waterproof warranty, which means that this shoe is guaranteed not to get wet for 2 years. Now we're going to take a look at the Ignite PWRADAPT High Top, which is almost a carbon copy. It has the same features and benefits, and it looks it looks exactly the same with just a few differences. Now, this sock, as they've so eloquently renamed the EvoKnit collar, is a replacement of the tongue of the shoe. So instead of having that tongue sitting on top of your foot, now you have this knitted sock, which is meant to increase the breathability of the shoe as well as give you increased ankle support. Next feature you have on the high top is what they call a perfect fit strap. It's what wraps around the top of the shoe there over the laces to kind of give you a little bit more security and kind of give you that custom feel as far as how tight and how loose you want the top of that shoe to feel. Next order of business is to take these shoes out into the golf course, which is exactly what I did. Over the last month, I played multiple rounds in these shoes, and yes, every single time I played in them, I walked. The idea is that I don't want to just put these shoes on and go hit some golf balls and then tell you what I think about them. I wanted to walk a mile in your shoes and give you an honest opinion of like, hey, if you're going to go out and you're going to walk 18 holes in these, I want you to know exactly what you can expect. So let's go to the course.
Different looking.
I liked them until I saw them.
You don't like the high sock?
No. But I feel like you should have joggers on.
As you saw there at the end of the video, I had some major blistering problem with the high top shoe. Initially, when I walked 9 holes in it, it was excruciating. It was so painful. It was to the point where after about 5 holes, I wanted to take the shoe off, but didn't, because I knew you guys would never let me hear the end of it. So I kept them on the entire 9 holes and totally wrecked the heel of my foot. I mean, right there on the Achilles tendon, you saw where those blisters developed. And the reason being is because if you flip back the sock of the shoe and you take a look into the heel of it, it's almost comical. It's like they forgot to finish the shoe. There's nothing back there. My wife put it perfectly. She said, you can see the bones of the shoe. And you can imagine when this shoe is designed to really grab you around the ankle, you know, that friction that you feel as you walk up and down hills and you hit shots, it doesn't feel great. Now, the second time I played in them, I put Band-Aids on the back of them there, and that helped out tremendously. At the end of that 9 holes, I started to feel it a little bit, and then at the end of 18 holes, it was back to being painful again. Now, the second thing to note about the outside performance test for the high top shoe is I did not play in rainy conditions. So naturally, I had to put it through the waterproof test. The shoes are knit on top here, and I was a little worried about this absorbing or soaking up water, but it's actually dry to the touch. I just walked out of it. It's just the water just runs right off of it, kind of like a rubber beach ball. As you can see from the video, the shoe does a very good job of staying dry, keeping the water out. Now, obviously, if you get the water up and over the laces on either one of these shoes, it's going to naturally leak down in. It's not the warmest, but it definitely stayed dry. But out on the golf course, other than the aforementioned problems with the heel and the high top shoe there, these things performed really quite well. I mean, right out of the box, they feel great putting on. I mean, it's like sliding your foot into your grandma's hug or something. They have tons of traction, they have really good support, and just like I said, the pliability of the shoe, the way it kind of just shapes around your foot and the way it moves throughout your swing, it's just really comfortable. Also, I thought they breathed really well. I did play with the shoe, as I stated, in the rain, and throughout that round it didn't get that like soggy, like bogged down feeling that I thought it would get in that mesh area. So it never like gets saturated and feels like soggy or heavy or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's going to continue throughout the life of the shoe, if that kind of is a coating and it wears off later on, but early on, I really like that. Now, I do want to talk more about this PWRADAPT traction that I mentioned before and how it performed out on the golf course. Now, obviously, that's hard to test. You can't really tell how well that's moving while you're swinging, but that wasn't really the issue that I had with it. The problem was, yes, I feel like each one of these spikes is individually represented on the bottom of the shoe, but the problem with that, they flex up and flex down, but when you step on them, they kind of push their way up into the bed of the shoe. And I only noticed this when I was down at the Masters, no brag, and I wore these down there as my primary shoe to walk in because I thought, you know, hey, they're comfortable, but also this would be a great opportunity to walk like 36 holes plus in these things in one day and get a good feel for it. And at the end of the day, dogs were barking. I really did feel these spikes because, you know, you're walking on the paths and you're walking on gravel and concrete, but I felt these spikes push up into the ball of my foot and the heel of my foot. I guess you could say that it's working because I definitely felt those flexing up and down into my foot. But on the grass, no clue. I couldn't feel it at all. I'm dogging on the shoe, but I actually like this shoe the better of the two as far as how it looks and how it feels on my foot. I love the ankle support on this one. I have played sports pretty much my whole life, and I have twisted my ankles a lot. I like this shoe because of that reason. Not only does this strap kind of retighten and re-secure that ankle, but the sock I feel like did give you added support, and it felt like someone was like lightly hugging your ankle, like, but in a nice way. So that kind of leads me into the style and the look of the shoe. So let's get shallow here for a second and let's talk about how these things look. I know a lot of you out there, just from my social media posts, when I got these shoes, I post pictures of them. A lot of you did not like the way this shoe looks. I'll get to that one here in a second. But this shoe, on the other hand, a lot of you did seem to like, and I think I agree with you on it, except one thing, and it is my biggest shoe pet peeve ever. White soles! Why do you put white soles on a golf shoe? When I get done playing golf, I'm not some psychopath that's gonna take this up into his sink with a toothbrush and clean it every single time that I wear it.
It puts the shoe balm on or else it gets the hose again.
I think that they have done a good job, finally, of making a golf shoe look more modern. But overall, we are very close here to what I would consider being a perfect golf shoe. And I'll go over what I think the perfect golf shoe would be after I talk about this one here for a second. So this shoe, let's talk about this shoe stylistically here for a second before I get into it. I know a lot of you don't like the look of this, and typically it's the older generations that don't like it. And as you heard my friend state in the video, it looked like I should be wearing jogger pants with them, and I tend to agree with him on that. This isn't for me. It's more for the younger generation, which is good because that's really who we're trying to attract into the game. We have a black sole here, which makes this, to me, the sexiest golf shoe I have ever seen. Now, the reason I tucked the sock in there is that even though I liked it and I liked the way it felt, it was a pain in the butt putting this shoe on. I don't like tying my shoes. I just cram my foot in and I want to go. This shoe, you have to unstrap and then keep the strap from doing that because it wants to do that all the time. So you have to hold the strap back. You have to then untie the shoe, and not only untie it, you have to loosen it. And then you have to hold both of these and then slide your foot inside of it and then tie the shoe and then strap the shoe. I mean, that's like a 5-minute process. Now, I know I'm being hypocritical here because I said I like that support and everything, but I feel like you could cut out one of these aspects. You either don't need the sock, or you don't need the strap, or you don't need the laces. Pick one of them. Me, I think I would probably get rid of the laces and just have a slide-on golf shoe with a strap on it. But do not fret, Puma, because you are so close to having the perfect golf shoe. It's not even funny. Here, let me help you out. This shoe right here for me is so close to being perfect. There are a couple of problems. The other being is that this shoe lacks just a little bit in the heel section as far as padding is concerned. If you padded the back section of the shoe just a little bit, oh, it'd be so good. I already own the Ignite Titan Tour shoe with the disc on it. Now, you made this shoe with the disc in it, but you put it here. Don't do that. That's how the shoe bends. You feel that. Don't do that. Put it right there where it was before. Be so good. Other than the disc and the heel, if you give me that shoe in this color scheme, I will never wear another shoe as long as I live. At last, we have reached the conclusion portion of this video where I would like to give you my final thoughts on the Ignite PWRADAPT high top and standard shoe here, especially those of you looking to maybe go out and buy a new pair of shoes and you may be considering one of these. The standard PWRADAPT shoe here I feel like would be best for those of you who like to walk a lot. This is lightweight, it's very comfortable, you have a lot of traction here, it's waterproof, and I really feel like it'll check a lot of those boxes for you. On the flip side of that, if you like to ride a cart and you need some ankle support and you wear very thick socks, this is probably going to be the better version for you. It does give you added ankle support. I feel like there's a lot of stability in the heel of this shoe, and overall it is comfortable. I just had a little bit of an issue with the unfinishedness of the heel portion of that shoe. So that wraps it up for this episode of Hard Boiled. Thank you guys so much for all your support and everything you do for this channel. If you have any questions or comments of other products you'd like to see in an episode of Hard Boiled, put them down in the comments section below. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.
This is why I hate geese. Right here. Goose poop.